Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for the second day for the SDG Venture Scaler program. I'm really excited to have today with us Luz Gast, who is Project Manager Education at Erasmus Center for Entrepreneurship. She designs and facilitates workshops about innovation and entrepreneurship, and will be a host for these sessions by ECE, by the Erasmus Center of Entrepreneurship, starting with this one on mission, vision, BHAG, and effectuation. Right? Thank you so much, Luz. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I will also start sharing my screen. So if I can get a moment, then hopefully it works. Is everyone seeing my screen? I think it is sharing, right? Perfect. Okay, welcome everyone on today's workshop, Mission, Vision, Big Goals and Effectuation. And I'm happy that all of you are here. And I'm also quite excited because we give training programs like this quite often, but for very different types of groups. So this is the first workshops in the session that we as Erasmus Center for Entrepreneurship are facilitating, and then it's always fun to see what kind of group it is, at which stages the companies are, and what you're also here to learn. Because beforehand, the organization shared with me the companies, and you're of course all quite established companies already. You have a business model, you have paying clients, and everything is there. So I was wondering, do we already have a mission and a vision, and what are we here to learn and to take? Because what I will do is I will go to through the content. I will share with you how you could use it, and then what I hope you get out of it is maybe a sort of reflection of, okay, where am I? Maybe some things are missing, or maybe some things I'm already quite progressed, but maybe I can even leverage them even more. So that's kind of my goal. And I was wondering, what are you here to take? What do you want to learn? Maybe we could put it in the chat, but you can also unmute and speak up. I'm fine with both. Just for my understanding of, yeah, what we should put the focus on today. And then I will give you some time to write.
First session, people are always a little bit more shy at the very first session. Please go ahead, everyone.
I understand. Is someone willing to unmute and maybe share what the current state is of their mission and the vision? That is a big, hairy, audacious goal. So it's basically, sorry, that's my answer for the question in the chat. So it's goal setting. So you have your mission, which is more about the daily activities and your approach. It's a statement. And then the vision is more the current state where you want to be in the world or with your company. And then the big goal is like a very big challenge, maybe over the course of like 10 or 15 years. So it's not like goal setting of this year, I want to have a certain amount of revenue. It's really a big challenge. And that often helps with making your vision more tangible. So how are you going to get there? But we're going to go through it today. But I was just curious where we are and what we want to learn. Does someone maybe wants to speak up, or shall I just go through it and then maybe in the breakout room we can have more of a discussion?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Sorry, my data is poor, so just voice. But I'm interested in the effectuation part. Because I've been running my business for about 7 years now. My R&D phase was like 5 years. So mission, vision, and BHAG is good, but I think effectuation is like something new to me.
Yeah.
And apart from that, it's always good to check if I'm having mission drift. So I think that's another thing that I'd love to learn about. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very interesting because in the last half hour, Ferlin, our guest speaker, is going to join us. And I called her yesterday to say what I expected of the session. And she said, okay, but my mission changed actually quite a bit, and also my vision. So do I have something to share? And I was like, yeah, for sure, because that happens with entrepreneurs, especially maybe if you're scaling up or if something changes. So we'll get to that. Okay, let's dive into the session, and we're gonna start with effectuation after a short introduction of oh, how do I click? Oh yeah, there it is. So the agenda. So first the introduction to vision creation. Then we're gonna dive right into effectuation, what it is, and maybe also how you can use it. And then the big, hairy, audacious goal. Afterwards, we're gonna do a breakout. It's not too long, so I don't expect you to finish it. So it's gonna feel a bit rushed, but I think it's always good to, within a session, think about the content and how you can apply it. Then we're gonna continue with vision, mission, and values. And afterwards, I forgot to add that to the agenda. Verlin, our guest speaker, is gonna come. And she also, with the startup visa, brought her company also to the Netherlands and to the US. And I think she's originally from Indonesia. So that's quite interesting. And I'm also excited to hear her story. So that's what we're going to do today. Then who are we? I'm Luz, and I work at the Erasmus Center for Entrepreneurship. And we do multiple things. But wait, I don't see my own slides. Oh, yeah, here. So we believe that innovation is crucial to make an impact and create a positive change. But how do we do that? How do we foster innovation? Through entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial competencies. And as a company, we have 4 pillars. So first of all, entrepreneurial competence. So we also host a lot of sessions for people who are not necessarily entrepreneurs, but they have an entrepreneurial mindset, and we really try to promote that within companies and also schools. Then we try to connect the entrepreneurial ecosystem because there's so many great entrepreneurs and organizations do lots of things, but you see that sometimes they find it hard to find each other and connect. So we play a role in that, especially in Rotterdam within the Netherlands. And then we have a very big branch of inclusive entrepreneurship. So for females, but also a project I do is entrepreneurship for people with ADHD. And we help people to scale up. So that are the main focus areas we have. And then because this session is about your mission and vision, I thought it's nice to share ours. So our mission is to make a positive societal change and impact by fostering entrepreneurial competencies and driving innovation through high quality research and education, locally and globally. So every month, our director asks if we remember it to really, because the important thing about the mission is that the whole company is aware of it. And then every month we try to say it on top of our heads, but we're not quite there yet. Although we all are really standing behind the mission and the vision. Okay, and then the vision. We believe that entrepreneurship is the primary driver for innovation. And what is our value? Well, ECE, so entrepreneurial, collaborative, and excellence. That's what we are, and yeah, what we will be doing. So during the 9 sessions we will host for this program, I will give the first 3, and then 2 of my colleagues will join because all of us have really our own expertise. That's what we are. And then effectuation. Let's dive right in. This is the main thing about effectuation. There are some principles, but we always start with showing this. Why? Because when we start with managerial thinking, which is causal reasoning, as an entrepreneur, sometimes you know where you want to go. So then you have a very clear given goal, and then you have your resources, and your resources are your given means. And with managerial thinking, you use your resources to achieve the goal. And that is, of course, a approach, and it works. And lots of people use it, and they often teach it in business schools. But then if we go to the right image, then you see entrepreneurial thinking. So let's skip the middle one for now. And there you can see that you can also turn it around. You can also not start with your goal, but which means do I have? So what resources do I have? What do I know? Who do I know? And then what can I actually create with it? And that is a different mindset because if you start with your given goal, then you can see I have the resources. Maybe you're lacking the resources, but you know where you want to go. So you can gain or add the resources. So that's more strategic thinking. So how can I generate new means? But maybe entrepreneurial thinking, it's more flexible, dynamic. And if you do it, you really come from what you already know and do well. So then maybe it's gonna feel more smooth. So that's effectual reasoning. So keep that in mind when we go to the next slide. Let's skip this one for now. So there are a couple of principles. Bird in hand, that are the means. So that are the resources we talked about in the first image. So what do you already have? Who do you know? What do you do as a company well? Which resources do you have? And often people write down some things, but you actually have more resources than you think you have if you really go into it. It can also be your interest or what excites you. Then your affordable loss. When you dive into an entrepreneurial project or a new innovation project, try to see, okay, you of course you have an expectation of what you can gain in the end, but you can also think about, but what can I actually afford to lose? So in a worst case scenario, what will I use? What will I lose? And that's a different mindset. That's a different way of thinking. Then we go to the third one, the lemonade. Some things don't go as expected or are holding you back as a company or as an entrepreneur. How can you turn them around in something that actually helps you further? Then the crazy cult. So the partnerships. Of course, you have partnerships, but can you also trust them or do they fall through at the moment you really need to build on them? So really check what are my partnerships and how trustworthy are they? And then the last one is the pilot in the plane. And that is really about actually doing it, taking the action. So having control, not predicting it, but really doing it and executing it. So these are the 5 principles, and they all come together into this visualization. Some people visualize it in a different way. You have many different. It doesn't really matter. They're most of all the same. So you start with your goal. This is a big goal. And there is an order of filling it in. So you don't necessarily start with your bird in hands. It really makes more sense if you start with a compelling goal. And it's not a goal as in short time span, so not for next month, but like a really long goal where it's not super clear how you can achieve it. Because if you make it too small, then the model doesn't really bring you the most value. So a big goal or a vision, and then you think, okay, but why? Why is this important to me? And that is a really important question because maybe you find something important, but if you don't know why, it's sometimes harder to explain to others and get them on board. So if you really know your why, that will help you eventually. And also asking yourself why, which value drives this for me? It helps you maybe to deepen your goal or change your goal or adapt it a bit. So, okay, you first start with making your goal, then the whys, so the value drivers, and then you go to the side. So you do or bird in hand or the lemons. So what means do I have and what things are holding me back? If you fill that in, then you kind of know where you want to go and what you have, right? And you know why you want to do it. So then you have the pilot in the plane. And there you sometimes it's also visualized as 2 blocks, but here it's one. So you can think about with my means, and I now know my end goal, what's the smallest possible step I can take? And maybe you can take 5 possible steps. What can you do today? What can you do tomorrow? What can you do this week? And then maybe you can also do some more long-term actions. So maybe what can I do in half a year? And that's how you kind of fill it in. And it's like a continuous thing. I have my big goal. I know why I know what I have, and I know what I can do with it. The small actions. And do you see how what I just told, how it connects to the image on the right, so the entrepreneurial thinking? Then you really think about, okay, what means do I have and what can I create with it? And when I first came across this theory, I was like, okay, but that doesn't make sense because you make a goal. So isn't it then managerial thinking? So the one on the left. That was my first thought, and lots of students or participants asked this to us. But like the big compelling goal, it's more a vision. It's long term. It's not concrete because the things that are concrete come out of the actions. The vision is more I want healthy food for people in the world. You know that's kind of a goal. But if you have that, then you don't know what the action is. The action or the concrete goals come out of the means. So if we go to the image on the left, so managerial thinking, then you have goals like maybe food bank projects. That's a given goal. Then you know what to do. While if you go on the right, so entrepreneurial thinking, then the goal can be end world hunger, but then you don't necessarily know how. And then with the means, an outcome can be food banks. So that's the way it works. And of course, we sometimes give this also to students, but all of you are entrepreneurs. So maybe it's nice to also reflect a bit on what have you been doing. And of course, there's not a right or wrong. So for some people, managerial thinking works just fine. And it's also not that you can just choose one. There's also in different situations, some are managerial thinking is better than entrepreneurial thinking. So maybe combine it and then see in which situation, which way of thinking suits you the best. So that is effectuation, and we want to include that in this first session because we're going to talk about the mission and the vision and the big audacious goal. And then it's good to know if you have these goals, with effectuation, you can actually reach it. Because with effectuation, you also have your big end goal or vision and what you have, and then the small short-term actions that are going to build up to the bigger picture. So that's what I wanted to share about effectuation. And I'm wondering, are there any questions? Does this resonate? And do people feel like you have been doing the entrepreneurial thinking or the managerial thinking? Is someone willing to share? It's the first session, so I get that it's still a bit like, but maybe after the breakout rooms, people are willing to share. Okay, shall we then move on? And then after the breakout rooms, we will discuss it. But first, before we do that, I wanted to share another piece of theory. Oh, yeah, this is a mountain. Why do we show the mountain? Because the big compelling goal is often showed as the golden mountain. So this is where you want to go. But of course, when you have the golden mountain, you don't necessarily know what is at the after an hour of walking the mountains or 2 hours. So that are the smaller goals. So that's yeah, why it's often linked to a mountain. So then your core purpose. And a core purpose is maybe somewhat similar to the values around your role. So why does it matter? So you filled in your vision or your big goal with effectuation, but then people we often urge you to do the 5 whys. So why is it so important to you? And this is an important question because it helps you to inspire your team to work towards achieving the vision or the goal. It should be clear and tangible, and it helps you to make decisions as it moves you away from thinking small or settling for less. So really know your why and your core purpose. So where do you want to go? That's the important question. And do you know that? And how do you start? Laying the bricks, building the wall, building the cathedral. It's all step by step. And if you know the big end goal, you don't have to know what the small steps in between are. You will get there eventually. So the core purpose, this is often quite a familiar theory. So the circle and the core purpose is the heart of the soul in your venture. So I would say some things we will discuss today are really for your venture and your company. And I would say this one, some people use it for the companies, but I personally feel it makes more sense. It's a bit more personal. So also, what's your reason of doing this as an entrepreneur? So what is your why? Why are you doing it? Why is it important? And later on, we will have some examples. So define your core purpose and consider the questions. Why do you do what you do? All of you have started the company. It's already there, but why did you start in the first place? Maybe go back to the moment you started the company or you got excited about the idea. What values or principles guided you to actually do it? And how does your why materialize in actions? So maybe you have the values and then you maybe act on it or you start a company. How does that work? So with the golden circle, we start with the why. Why is it important to you? And then the how. And the how is more like how do you actually achieve what you want to achieve? And the what is super practical. And I think here's an example. So here the core. We believe in empowering individuals through technology, fostering creativity and connection in a world of possibilities. So that's quite broad. You know, I mean, it makes sense for Apple, but it's not super specific yet. They don't necessarily talk about the iPhone already, you know? And then the how, that's really the process. So design elegant products, integrate them seamlessly, blah blah blah. So that's more the process they're on. So the why is really why do they actually do the activities they do? Then the process is the how, and the what is super concrete. So the outside of the circle, that's more specifically what do you do? So that's more a company's pitch. So we offer the first range of personal computing devices, blah blah blah. You know, so this is the golden circle, and at the start I always find it a bit confusing, but it really helps to fill it in well. Then, if we move on, so I talked about this already, and I think it's just really good. And we often give it in workshops, and that's if you do what you do and you let someone else ask why. And for example, I talk quite a lot, so then after two whys, I feel like I've told everything. But if someone asks you again why, then it really urges you to go one step deeper. And I think, let me look at the time. Maybe it's good to make one-on-one breakout rooms and actually do this exercise. Guillaume, do you know, is that possible?
Sorry, do you mind repeating?
Yeah, if we can maybe make breakout rooms of
Yeah,
2 people in each breakout room.
sounds good.
And
I'll
then
prepare
what
that
I
right
want
now.
you to do is think about, I know I haven't given you much time to think about the core purpose, but all of you have companies, so I also don't think it's a super hard exercise. So think about why do you have this company? And then the other person is gonna ask 5 times why, and you're gonna answer. But when you ask why, don't ask more. It's really just the exercise of asking why and see if you can get to the core and to your values. I think we need around 4 minutes each, but then the other person also needs to go. So switch on your own. Make sure you really divide the time 50-50.
So exactly 2 people per room, right?
Mm. Yeah, I think that's the quickest.
Okay, so let's create 13 bracket rooms. If your pair, your counterpart is not responsive, please let me know, come back to the main room, and we're gonna assign you to another bracket room.
Yeah,
Right,
perfect. So
and
think about
so
your
how
core
many minutes?
purpose. Hmm?
8 minutes in total, right, for the bracket room?
Yeah, 8 minutes in total, 4 minutes each. And then think about what's the core purpose of your company and why you started it. And then the other person is gonna ask why. And it's also, I think, nice to get to know the other person well, because that's also really what this exercise is good for.
All right, it's ready to open whenever you give a go. Should I open them now?
Yeah, shall we start?
So everyone, you should see in front of you a pop-up inviting you to go to your breakout room. If you have any issue, let us know. There is just one person, one group that has 3.
I think
Okay,
they
perfect.
will.
Everyone went.
Yeah.
Okay,
If
I'm
you are,
just
then
welcome back, everyone. We're gonna give another
hello.
20 seconds for the rest of the cohort to come back. In the meantime, that'd be great if you can turn on your video. It makes it a bit more engaging. So if you can smash that video button, thank you. Okay, 2, 1,
Yeah.
0. Everyone is coming back.
Oh, more people last minute. Yeah. So we did this exercise, and it maybe sounds a bit yeah, easy. Like, why do you do this if the company is already there? But I hoped it helped to really deepen it a bit, and that you can apply it to your company in a way. Like, okay, this is the why I do it, and how can you give more depth in your communications with others? Are there any ideas how we can apply what we just did? It's smart way to separate room. Sorry. I see in the chat comments. So feel free to use the chat if you have any questions or comments, and you can also just unmute and speak up. Yeah, so the core purpose and the 5 whys. I hope this was clear. Feel free to share how you want to apply it, and then we're gonna move on to the goal. And what I feel like with this session, we're gonna go through a lot of different components. And when I first came across it, I felt like everything sounds the same, but hopefully in the end, I can say what the difference is and how you can apply it differently. So I'm gonna share my screen again because then we're gonna move on to the big goal. Then I'm gonna present it. So the 5 whys. And then we have the big goal. And that is different from your core purpose because the core purpose is more of why you do it. And then the goal is more a specific challenge, but challenge is not really the right word because it sounds too small. So why do we do this? Because most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but really underestimate what they can do in maybe 10 years. So it's actually more easy to make a goal for 1 year. I also do it for myself, some sort of New Year's resolutions. But then does that actually work? It's actually better to show it to do it over a longer period of time and then not making it the big hairy audacious goal is actually super concrete but still also really big. So when you make the goal, a good way to think about it, if it's if it's super doable and you go too quick, then it's not big enough, then it's not ambitious enough. So really make it big and long term. So what should minimum success look in that year look like? So this is, I think, 3 years. And you see that at the start as a company, you're still figuring a lot of things out. But at one moment, you maybe, and I think Atta, my colleague, is going to give a session about flywheel. When you have found your flywheel, things are going in an upward spiral with your company and you're scaling, then it goes really quick. But that moment may come in a year, but probably not. Maybe it takes longer. So that's why it's important to have big goals. So, what does success look like for you in 10 or 25 years? And that's a long time period. A challenge that is so big and outside the box that it might feel like you never will never achieve it. That's kind of the goal. So, do you already have that? Because I feel like lots of entrepreneurs they kind of came up with a mission and a vision, but what's really the big goal here? What impact do you want to have? What's the challenge? What are you working towards? And this is something that can be kind of the goal in the effectuation roadmap. So the big goal with the values, the why, that is this type of goal. So determining your company's vision, and here you see I'm already getting a bit. I'm using them one and for the other, like the big goal or the vision, and hopefully it will become clear later what exactly the difference is. But it should be clear and compelling. So where a vision is maybe more like end world hunger, maybe then it's not. The big goal is more tangible, so a focal point of effort. And that's where you see if you use it in the effectuation roadmap, then you know where to go. So the effort, so all the small things, the concrete steps you take are working towards your bigger goal or challenge. And it acts as a clear catalysis for team spirit. So if you also tell your team or your partners, like, this is where I want to work towards, and if they really see why that is important. Maybe you have your core purpose, but everyone else also knows their why. Why are they actually working for you? Why did they choose that company? And sometimes it's about the money and just having a good job. But often people, there are more jobs you can take. So why this one? What was it about this company? So really, you can take your whole organization along, and it's also important to see that it matches what the people want to connect to. So this is the big goal. And then there are certain conditions. Of course, there's not really right or wrong, but I would really urge you to change it if it's too short term. So really make it long term. If you already know step by step how you're going to achieve it, then it's not ambitious enough. Make it really big. Make it aligned with your core purpose. If your whys and your core purpose is entirely different from your big goal, then what are you doing? Because maybe you're ambitious about multiple things. I also have multiple passions or things I want to change in the world, but do it one by one. So take one thing for your company, and then if you have multiple companies or multiple projects you're passionate about, keep them separated. So really, this the mission, the vision, and the big goal. Do it now for one idea or company you have. And then make it clear and compelling because the goal is that when you share it with others, that of course not everyone is gonna have the same thing as you, but that people can connect with it. Like, oh, that is actually needed in this world or in my country. And then make it visible and measurable because they say the biggest thing with goals is if you speak up about it and if you share it, then it's much more likely that people that you're also gonna make it and reach the goal because people can help you and they know what's needed. And also, if your goal is too confusing, like if you mention it and everyone's like, I don't know what he or she is talking about, but I don't get it, I'm gonna move on. Then make it yeah really compelling, easy to grasp, and it should encourage big thinking. So really ambitious thinking, a big goal, and it's far enough to be changed. So of course, if you do a full 180, then maybe that's not like you can always do that, but it should be far enough away that you can kind of tweak it a bit like, oh no, and I want to refocus. Because if you do the effectuation roadmap, if you really go from your means, small projects, small concrete steps based on what you have and already can do, then you will see, okay, maybe there's the most likely scenario is your big goal. But then market circumstances change or your stakeholder group changes, then of course you're never gonna end up exactly where you think you'll be. It'll change a bit, maybe it will change a lot. For example, the corona pandemic, nobody expected it, and then it really changed. So really be flexible that you can try kind of tweak it. And then why? Why would you care about making a big goal? Um, and make it aligned with your passion. And it really helps you with decision making. Because if you have a big goal, then everything you do in your company, you can think, okay, but does this actually contribute to that goal? Because we often see that some entrepreneurs want to make an impact and they have a clear challenge, a big goal. And then if you look at their day-to-day operations and actions, is it actually in line with that? And maybe you see it's not. Actually, what I'm doing is not contributing to my goal. Is that necessarily a bad thing? Well, it's a sign. It's a sign of something. For example, that what you're doing, maybe your goal doesn't resonate with what your company does. Maybe the goal should change, but maybe if you really believe in a goal and you're really passionate about it and you want to make that impact, but then you see your operation doesn't match, maybe you need to reshift your focus and your activities. But maybe what you're doing right now is what brings the revenue in. So then you need to tweak some things. You really want your operations and your daily activities to contribute to the bigger goal. And maybe you're not especially it's super maybe it's not super clear how it contributes to the bigger goal, but it should be in the same domain in the area. It should feel like you're making progress. Even though the big am I gonna really reach it is not super clear yet. So why do I even care about this opportunity? Is it aligned with my passion? That is a question you can ask yourself. If you see a new opportunity coming through in your work life, does it contribute to the goal? Because often entrepreneurs are very busy. So does this actually bring you one step further to achieving it? And are we really good at it? So you have your core purpose, your whys, you know what you do well, you have your means, the bird and hands. Are you really good at the opportunity that passes by? Is it really suitable for you, or do you need to find a partner? Can we make money doing it? Is it aligned with our profit? And really, does it move us closer to our goal? That's the question. So the difference between core purpose versus the big goal. The core purpose is a bit more abstract. It's also a bit more personal. It's also never finished. Like your core purpose stays your core purpose. That's just the what you want to do in life. And it's less inspiring, while the big goal is really the top of the mountain. It has a definite end date, so it's more clear, more compelling. It gives a clear destination, and people want to tag along. That's kind of what we talk about. And then the purpose is more the North Star you see in the image. Let's skip this one. So, for example, this is a big goal. So, I believe that the nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing the man on the moon and returning him safely to Earth. So, when you hear that goal, people think like, oh, that I, you see how that can be very compelling. Like that is also what I want to be involved at, or what I take along with, or I want to have a role in that. So in that way, and also this goal, it's short, but you know exactly what he wants. It's super clear. It's compelling. It's transformative. It's competitive, and you really make yourself a role model in a way with it. So that's kind of what I want for you to do. And here are some companies with, I think most of us know these companies. So organize the world's information, connect the world, transformation as reliable as running water everywhere for everyone. You see, it's super clear. And then, of course, we can make it more tangible with measurements later, but this is what you can communicate. So I thought maybe it's good if you think about it, because if you have the big goal, you can fill in the effectuation roadmap and maybe see if it aligns with your core purpose we just discussed. So maybe now we can do breakout rooms with more people in one room. Maybe, shall we let me check the time. Shall we take 10 minutes maybe to really do this and think about the questions? And then the questions are just input. For me, it's important that you write your goal. Maybe you already have one. Maybe based on this information, you want to change or tweak a bit the one you have. So, what's your big goal? And then share it with the ones that are in your group. So, let's make groups of 4. And are there any questions about the assignment? Then feel free to put it in the chat or speak up.
So everyone,
And
you
also,
will lose the access to this slide when you go to the breakout room. So I propose to copy paste the text over here in the chat. So you can copy paste and same, this message in the chat will disappear as you enter the breakout room. So please go in the chat and copy paste the message that I just sent. So I recreate rooms with 4 people per room.
yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, it's ready to get started. And how many minutes? 10 minutes, right?
10 minutes.
Okay.
So really form your goal. Yeah.
Should we open them now?
Let's start.
Okay, perfect. Have a good discussion, everyone. The others have about 30 plus seconds to come back. So I propose to give them a little bit of time.
I was gossiping with the Indonesian founders already.
That's
Funny.
good.
There's so much to talk about.
No, that's not
good.
gossiping.
We're like, there's a lot of startup drama in Indonesia right now.
Oh, I've seen a little bit of it. Yeah.
It's all about integrity.
Oh gosh. True, true. Was that a delivery startup? I don't remember that had, that made the news recently. Which company were you talking about?
It was basically a Indonesian startup in general that is on the news. like e-fishery,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
there's a few actually.
there's several.
Yeah.
Well, because
E-fishery, correct. Sorry, that's not delivery, that's
but
e-fishery.
there were
Yes,
there
yes.
were others also because I'm also technically fintech aside from edtech. So in the fintech in Indonesia, there's also like a lot like in terms of like scams found. And
Yes,
so
yeah,
yeah, that's also like been a hit the sector
yeah.
in general.
There is always a big need for more impactful and more ethical businesses, right? And hopefully others will learn that you should not do that. That you will get there is no gain. In the US as well, right? A few years ago,
And
in crypto and fintech, there's a
we
lot.
were talking about the because when that happens, like all of us are affected as founders because
Yes,
uh yeah, and then it's the same on the positive side, right? If like founders succeed, then it's also good for all of us. So yeah.
true, true.
Yeah. Okay, shall I continue? Because I want to have a break, but before we do that, I wanted to ask you a few things. Because hopefully you all have thought about your big goal, and now I want to put it to the test. So if you think about your goal, are you actually getting excited? Because that's quite important. If you already think like, "Nah, we will see," then it's not maybe the right goal for you. So are you excited? Is it motivating? Is it clear, compelling, and easy to grasp? So when you shared it with the people in your breakout room, did they understood it or did they look like they had a lot of questions? Because then maybe you need to reword it or reframe it. Does it connect to your core purpose? But maybe even more important, will it excite the people in your organization? Because maybe you already had the goal, maybe you just formulated it. Check it with your maybe colleagues or employees or clients. Like when you tell the goal, do they think like, yeah, that is a good thing to do? Does it resonate? And you can very easily test that to just say it and see how people will react. So I would really urge you to do that. So does it excite people around you? And then is it truly a really big goal? So often with goals like this, you can't do it yet because maybe you don't have the capabilities yet. And that's a really important thing. So will achieving it require a significant leap in capabilities? Because there the development comes in. There you really specialize and really yeah, really set yourself as an expert in what you do. So your team develops, you yourself develop, and that comes through when we talked about the effectuation, the small steps you take, when you get closer to the mountains, so your big goal, then the birds in hand, so the means you have, or the first picture I showed with all the means, you will have more. Why? Because you have more capabilities. For every small action, you learn something, you gain capabilities, or you gain partners or insights, and that's how you actually achieve it. But if you feel like the goal you have written down, if you already know how to do it, when to do it, who you need, then is it truly ambitious enough or can you make it more ambitious? Because that's where you learn when you get out of your comfort zone and as a company, how you gain expertise. That's how you do it. And then in 25 years, will you be able to tell if you achieved it? So if it's a bit too vague, then it's more of a vision actually. And the goal should actually be a goal. So you don't have to know how to achieve it, but you do have to know if it's actually achieved. So in 25 years or in 10 years or in 15 years, do you know if you have made it? Really, really think about that. So maybe after this meeting, look at these. If you're gonna revisit anything, then revisit these questions. And then you don't have to read all of this. This is an example of Tesla. But if you have your big goal, then you can, of course, reverse engineer it. So, or you can start with the entrepreneurial thinking with your means. What's the first small action I can do? But you can also think the other way around. You have your big goal. If you want to achieve it, then what do you need to be able to do? And then you can see, okay, what are the capabilities I'm lacking or the partnerships I'm lacking? That's a way to achieve your goals. So reverse engineering. And then out of this maybe come actionable steps. And you will see if you do the short-term actionable steps, then you will get closer and closer and gain capabilities and knowledge. And of course, this is a really long-term thing to do, so it will change along the way, but that's not a bad thing. As long as it stays in line with your core purpose, you can tweak your big goal. So this is another example that you can read after the workshop. That's what I wanted to share, and maybe it's good before we continue with the mission, vision, and values that we take like how long shall we take? 10 minutes? Is that too long? Are we in need for a break? I think it's good if everyone can maybe get something to drink and get away from the screen for 5 minutes. Yeah,
Sounds good.
let's do that. So let's take 5 minutes. Oh, I see a
All right.
thumbs up. That's good.
Okay, we'll be back at 11, I think
Could I
10
ask?
a.m. Sorry, 5 p.m. 5:11 Singapore time.
Guillaume, can I ask a question? Sorry, it's
Yes.
not for anyone. Am I G1, G2, or G3? So I'm so sorry.
All right, let me double
How
check.
do I find out?
It was sent by email.
Oh gosh, okay, I'm so sorry for missing it. I'll look for it.
Yeah, but I can tell you right now, so it's gonna take me just a minute.
Thank you so much. I think I'm G2.
Yeah, correct, you're G2. Exactly.
I think it's alphabetical, right? Okay, I don't know.
No, it's by country and
I'm wrong.
yeah, it's by country, I believe.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay. Shall we, because I share my screen, I can't see everyone, but shall we start? And then, yeah, let's do it. So, your big audacious goal. We will talk about it again in the conclusion, but I hope this made sense. And now I want to continue with actually your mission, vision, and values. And I know that when you hear this, it maybe sounds exactly the same as the core purpose and the big goal, but it's slightly different and it will come together in the end. So your mission, vision, and values. Before I gave this session, I got all the companies and the websites, and maybe you have a mission and vision in mind. Maybe you already have it on a website, maybe not. And what are your values? So I want to use this time to really say what you can do with it and how you can share it, how you can create it. And maybe all of you are in different phases. Maybe you already have a clear mission and vision. Maybe you don't. Maybe you have it, but you don't communicate it yet. So let's use this time to go through it. First, your mission. So your mission is your what and how. It's really your daily activities and approach. So this actually, the mission should be very easy to kind of define because it's what you're already doing. So focus on impact. How will your work change the world or your industry? What problem are you solving? So it's really the problem you're solving through the activities you're doing. That's kind of your mission. So that's actually super concrete. Make it, of course, again, inspirational and actionable, but here it's more that it's understandable, and then the vision can be really inspirational. And of course, there are rules of how you can best formulate it so that it feels like it's really an action, so that really people can identify with it and also know what they can approach you as a company or as an entrepreneur for. So this is your mission, really the what and how to your daily activities and approach. And then it's important to communicate your vision. So maybe if you have your company and you already clearly have your mission statement, then without telling it to people, just ask them what actually is our mission. And then you can see, do people actually remember it? Does it resonate with them? And if not, then how can you communicate it more clearly? You really want to the end goal is that when people think about your company or see your brand logo, that they know the mission you're doing. It's really important because then they know what they can ask you for. So that's the mission. And then the vision is more of where. So where do you want to be in the future? What is the desired future, the state of the world or the ecosystem you're working in or your company? Where do you want to be? What's your vision for the future? So the mission is what and how. Exactly what and how are you doing it right now? What are you currently doing? The vision is where do I want to be in the future? It's more where do I want to go through executing my mission? And people, me included, sometimes confuse them. They use it one for another, but it's actually quite different. So where do you want to be in the long run? And this is really important to know. And then what is the difference between a vision and a big goal? The big goal, so the big hairy audacious goal, it's more of a challenge. It's concrete, it's measurable, while the vision, it's not necessarily super measurable. It's just the current state of the world or the domain where you're working in. So of course, again, make it inspiring. That's super important because the main goal of the mission and the vision is, of course, to know it for yourself, so you know where you're working towards, but also that people can tag along, that you can collaborate, that people can connect with you. And the mission and the vision, so they're each own. They're their own thing, although people combine them often, but they should be aligned. Like through executing your mission, so through doing your what and how, so through doing your activities, you want to come closer to the desired future state, which is your vision. I hope that makes sense and that resonates. But then the important question is, of course, always the why. Why is this important to you? And that is actually very linked to, oh yeah, here we have the communication again. Very important, communication. The values. So you have your mission and your vision, but as a company, you also have, oh, do I see some things in the chat?
We have 2 comments saying questions.
But that's good if it gets bigger, because then you get more um inspired, right? Like where you want to go with the challenge.
Yeah, I'm happy about it, but sometimes it's like, is this normal?
It is normal. It is normal. As long as it's a kind of actionable, so you know where you want to go, and then you can backtrack it. So maybe if you do the backtracking, just like the example with Tesla, then you have the smaller steps kind of, and then it makes sense. Where it goes wrong, if it feels like 5 separate things. It
Yeah.
goes well if it gets bigger, but within the same sphere, kind of.
Yeah. It's still there, so yeah.
Still there? Yeah. That's good. And do you have a concrete mission and vision?
Yes. So actually, I think it's just over the years it's become more defined. And because I think as I was solving the problem, I got deeper and deeper into understanding like the actual
Yeah.
root causes of the problem. And so whenever the mission vision evolved, it was more of like to realign with the latest understanding, but it's still in the same um thing. And like it made us better because it made things clearer. And
Yeah.
on the BHAG, it mostly got bigger over the years because when I started Invest Ed, I really just wanted to help send students to school.
Yeah.
And I never really saw myself as a founder with the potential to build something globally. Which is also sometimes I share as a female founder because um I'm like middle class Filipino. There's no examples similar to my profile who solved like a global problem um at that scale. And so it's hard for me to believe myself, right? But when I was building the business, kept seeing the potential of the solution. So
Mhm.
my BHAG got bigger in the sense that I wanted to solve the same thing but just on a larger scale. So now it went from being able to help students in the 100,000s in the Philippines, and then eventually like majority of the market of the 20 million in the Philippines, and eventually, okay, I actually want to take this to other similar countries in the developing world. So yeah, that's how it got bigger, and I'm happy about it. But like, but and it's
Mm.
mostly from a point of excitement. But yeah, it's like more of like a journey, in a sense. And then now, I see other potential business models also that it could grow into. So, but yeah, just keeping focused for now, and also what's achievable in
Yeah.
25 years.
That's a really cool story. Thanks for sharing. And indeed, then your vision maybe also changes because maybe at the start it was like schools and getting people to schools in the Philippines. So that was maybe your desired vision. But now your vision got bigger because you kind of got near the vision. So it was not big enough yet.
Yeah, and also I think it's also the market conditions, right? The how the
Yeah.
world evolved. And so since I'm in education, like now with like AI, future of work, it's there's evolution of like the BHAG for the product. So I think
Mm-hmm.
there's also like externalities that influence that apart from personal realizations. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's always a combination. So don't be afraid to indeed change it and adapt and change and adapt again, like the build, measure, learn loop. Although it's good to have like a focus point and then don't be afraid to change. So I think that's a natural way to do it. Yeah. Okay. For everyone who wants to share, feel free to break in. And otherwise, I'm gonna continue with the values because it's always really helpful. And I feel like lots of people skip this. So, for example, ECE, we have entrepreneurial, collaborative, and committed to excellence. They are kind of our values. And then it really helps to see, okay, but what matters to us? For example, for our company, it really matters to work with a lot of partners because that brings us so much value. And of course, we teach entrepreneurial skills, but it's really important to us to be entrepreneurial ourselves too with our own projects we do. So, in that sense, you really highlight also what do you want your employees to do? What do you want your partners to do? What do you want your clients to do? It's really to check maybe if you clearly know what your values are, and hopefully those values really match your mission and vision, then who has the same values or the same is for true for the mission and vision. If you know a partner or an organization who does something similar based on their mission and vision, then you can really see if you can connect or collaborate in a way. It's really to see what matches. And the values is one of the same things because values you can't pick wrong or right ones. It's just what's important to you. And then what can happen is that it not matches with a partner. So maybe then you get some friction. But if you clearly know why, then it's more easy to understand and to change and be adaptable. So your values are your guiding principles. So it's really about your organizational culture. And maybe you know what you want your values to be, but are it actually your values? Because you see, just like as a person, besides the entrepreneur and your company, you have values. But nobody has one value. You have more multiple values, but you will see that sometimes you come in a situation where you have to pick something. So if two values are clashing, you will see that one is always more important than the other one because you sometimes just have to pick. So what do you then do? It's really comes down to what are your core beliefs? What are your core values? What will you always pick first? Is it maybe financial stability, or is it making the impact, or is it connecting? It can be anything. But then also think, okay, but what's really the core? If you have like 10 values, then you're not at the core yet. I think they say six is an optimum amount, but the lower the amount of the lower the amount of values, the better, because then it's clearly those three. That's the most important to us. It brings a lot of focus and be authentic. So is it really you? Does the culture live through it? Does it show that it's those values? Would people connect the values to you, even if you didn't actually pronounce it? If you didn't say these are my values, then will people recognize it? That's a good test. And is it actionable? So is it something that you can show through your behavior, through your decision making, to your focus? Can you show your values? That's the question. Why doesn't it click through? Oh yeah, here. So here are some examples, but you can find many lists online. And what often helps if you don't have clear values yet is to print a list and then with a pen cross everything that's clearly not your value. And then you will see what kind of resonates with you, and then the hard work is going to come because then you need to pick what's the most important, what is the core. And maybe for some people this is easy, but it's often quite challenging to really get to the core. So if you can only pick three, because often there may be 10 that you feel like these are all great, I all want to be it. But what do you actually really do? What does your behavior shows? What does the behavior of your team show or tell you? And you of course have different kind of values, but maybe it can also help to if your you can do it for your company, but maybe start for yourself as an entrepreneur. And that really links back to the core purpose. Why did you start the company? Why do you do what you do? What are your core values? If you know that well, and then think about, okay, but I started this company. Maybe you have a team, maybe not. But if you think about your team, did my core values actually transfer to the company? Maybe you hope so, but is it the case? Maybe they have other values. Maybe your company has better values than you. Maybe you have one employee that really brings the culture in, that really has a leadership role within or informal leadership role for the culture. So what are the values? Really think about that, and what do you want it to be? And then does it connect to the mission and vision? So if you think about your big goal or your mission and your vision, which values are super important? Is it, for example, if you look at this list, maybe customer focus is the most important thing for you, or this collaboration, or listening. Like what is the core? And of course, when you see these values, you think, okay, but I want it all. Maybe you're very positive, but if you can really only pick three and let that guide you, and of course, values can change over times, but not so much actually. Everything can change, but it's not every month. And then this really forms the identity of your company. And maybe with exercises like this, it's often like you have a desired identity. What do you want it to be? And then that's in your mind, kind of. But what actually came out? What transferred to your team or your clients or your customers or your stakeholders? So it starts with your values. What do you find really important? Based on that, you have maybe a mission to get one step closer to your vision, step by step. Because the mission was the what and how. How do you do it through your daily activities? And the vision is the where. Where do you want to get in the end? So this is basically the pyramid. And then check how defined is it? Maybe you're too big. Maybe it's not concise enough. Or maybe you're super concise and that's you know it to the point, but does it transfer to other people, and how do you communicate it? Is it on your website? Do people know it? Do they understand it? And is it compelling and attractive? Do people want to join you? That's the most important thing as an entrepreneur. Do people want to join you and think, yes, this is a cause I want to support? This is a company I want to buy from. So that's the company's identity pyramid. And I think we have as ECE 9 sessions, and we will talk in the end also, I think, more about branding and marketing, and then this also comes and flows back in. But this really helps you also to pick the activities. If you get too busy or if you have lots of opportunities, it helps also as a decision making tool for yourself. So what decisions do I want to make? And also what's the most important thing to me? Or where do I lie the focus on? Or which part of execution should really go well because that's the core of my company? And which parts are extra? This is nice, but it's not the core. Know that very well, and that will then help you kind of as a North Star for guiding you. And here we have, I think I have a whole list of examples. I don't think I'm going to read them all, but you can look at them afterwards. But maybe let's look at one. So this is a company from Taiwan for climate action, and then the mission is accelerate the world's transition to zero waste through material innovation, technology, and design. And here you can see this is a clear what and how. I now know kind of what they do, right? Of course, not to the detail, but you kind of get it. Then the vision makes circular economy a reality in everyday consumption where waste is seen as a resource and upcycle into valuable products. And here you can really clearly see it's a desired future. They're not there yet. They kind of have a plan of getting there, but maybe not exactly. So you see what the difference is. So really don't mix them up. A lot of companies mix them up. And then the values are sustainability, innovation, collaboration, and social responsibility. So this is kind of a clear story. Now you kind of get the identity of a company in a way. So can you also formulate this for your company and communicate it and see if it resonates? That's kind of the assignment here. Maybe one more. This is not that long. So a company from China in the healthcare, the mission to develop and commercialize innovation medical devices in the field of structural heart disease. So you know what they do and how they do it. Then the vision, global medical device company, they know where they want to be. But here you already see a difference because this vision to be a respected global medical device company is the vision of where their company is in the future. Where's the company itself? Whereas the previous example makes circular economy a reality, that's more of a state of of the world, kind of a mindset. And that's all fine. I think I skipped those slides previously, but it's more a desired state in the future, and it doesn't matter if it's for the ecosystem, for your country, or for your company. It's all fine as long as it's far away and it excites people. Because if your vision is to be a respected global medical device company, then you can pick that as a vision. But if you use that as a communication tool, then it also needs to be clearly shown in the mission what you would add, because otherwise it isn't appealing to people. Because if it's just a very commercial company and they want to earn a lot of money, then I'm like, okay, but do I want you to be the global medical device company? But if they make a lot of impact, I'm like, okay, then I see why. So make it attractive for other people outside of your company and for employees in your company. And then, of course, you can tweak the accent. So the vision, is it for your company or for the industry, whatever you prefer. And then pick clear values. And then all of these examples, I think I see no more than 4 or 5 values. So really get to the core. What are your core values? Don't pick too many. And then key considerations is clarity. Don't use a lot of jargon. So if I don't work in your industry, do I still get it? That's kind of important because maybe people outside of the industry or without less knowledge than you can still want to contribute to it or buy something from you. So make it clear, make it concise and to the point. So all of these examples, they're short. So make it short, make it concise, make it credible. So it should be an honest reflection. And of course, you need to start something. So you just put it on paper and then see, does it resonate with your company? Is it what we actually do? Can we make decisions based on it? And if not, then maybe change it. But because I think in the end, it will help you more if it's in line with your operations, with what you already do. They're very important, make it inspiring. So it doesn't motivate others, but maybe even more important, does it actually motivate yourself? Do you really feel the urge and the need inside to achieve your vision? Then the focus. Is it specific enough and does it provide direction? Is it broad enough to allow for flexibility and growth? So what we discussed in the conversation, like it should be specific, you know where you want to go. But if it's too specific, for example, in the short term, so if it's too specific what you need to reach in a year, then it's not flexible enough. Then it doesn't provide enough opportunity for growth. You don't gain the capabilities. But if it's in 10 years or 25 years, then it provides a direction, but it can still be flexible because it's not super concrete what the clear steps are. So I hope that is clear. And then make it measurable. So your vision doesn't necessarily need to be measurable, but your big goal should be. So maybe I shouldn't have included it in this slide. Now I want to actually give the stage to Verlin. She is in a meeting. Yeah, and also behind
Hi.
her laptop,
Yeah.
I see a hand. Maybe before we go to Verlin, is there a question?
Yeah, I would like to ask you. I learned somewhere that we have to prepare something like a mantra, something that was prepared before by like Kiyosaki of Canva. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. So, personally, in our startups, we made it like making healthcare easy for everyone. So that's what we did. So, where should we categorize that? This is something that we should put as a mission rather, something like our
So what is the question? If you should put it where?
if is it something that, for example, the mantra that we're doing for startups, should we be considering it as our mission, not really as a BHAG since it's not quantifiable? So, am I understanding it correctly?
Um, yeah, so you don't have to put the most exact things in a mission, but just it should be a bit general. Like if it's too specific, then it gets too long. So it's more important that people remember it and that it's concise and that is kind of an overview of your actions, of what you do, of the what and how. So if it's a specific component and if you include that, then only if that's really the core. If it's a side thing or a project, but not the core project, then maybe I would leave it out. Does that help?
Yeah, all right. Understood. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Verlin, you're here. I'm happy you're here. And I know Verlin not that long actually, but my colleague founded a company with her, She Leads Plus, and she is actually also a serial entrepreneur with lots of companies, which she also moved to multiple countries with your company. So we are excited to hear your story.
Hi,
Do
Luz.
you
Thank you
want
so
to,
much. Do you
shall we
guys hear me?
start with the video you sent me, or do you want to start with something else?
I think I can start to introduce myself first right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really like, I'm listening to you guys, from the beginning. I stopped a bit. So it's really interesting session. Thank you so much to invite me here for Luz and what is it, Gwyn. Thank you. And nice to see everyone here from Southeast Asia. My name is Farlin Vermeer Yoswara. I'm originally from Indonesia. I was born and raised in Indonesia, also raised in other countries as well. Currently, I live in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. How I came to the Netherlands, I received a startup visa from the Dutch government. So I'm the first Indonesian to receive a startup visa to build a startup business in the Netherlands. Yeah, basically, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I run some companies myself. I started with my own career as a professional artist in sculpture and painting. And I also found my company for a jewelry company for diamond and gemstone. And then we do own production and design, me with a team right now. And from there on, I also now like partner and CEO of EMEA for Ring Theory. Is a smart wearable company. So the idea was like, I get bored a little bit with the jewelry, and then like because it's already running and ongoing, and then the structure of the company already good. So I what I said, like kind of expanding to the smart wearable. So like between jewelry and technology combined together, I met the right business partner. So yeah, so Ring Theory is the company name. It's based in USA and also in Rotterdam right now as a um, what I said, branch company in Rotterdam, but we are based in Boston, and my partner, he lives in USA at the moment, and yeah, so we are running. What a smart wearable company is we built and develop a smart ring, a smart bracelet, smart watches, and with all kind of function. Example, open the door, bank payment system to pay for things, let's say, and also check-in, check-out public transport. Currently, we are having around 3 million users right now. Yeah, I think 3 million is not so many because like all of you guys right now, like from Southeast Asia, is like so like really a lot of population. But yeah, started from yeah, a small project and then like become bigger and bigger project basically. And beside that, like recently, I'm also co-founded a foundation for women empowerment and development and for gender equality as well, together with my partner, Katie, and also with ECE from Erasmus Center for Entrepreneurship, where Luz working right now is our founding partner. Yeah, so that's about me. And maybe Luz can show the video of my company a little bit. Yeah, so this is like for public transport in Boston, that how we started the company a long time ago. And then in the video is like my business partner, Edward.
Okay, I'm gonna start it. It's super short.
So
Should
my
there
business partner
be
actually
audio?
from Singapore. He's a Singaporean.
Should there be audio in the video as well, or is it just visual, Ferlin?
I think without the sound it's okay, because just want to show how is the smart ring works out.
Perfect.
Basically, it's really short basically. Yeah.
Okay, so that is what your company does. And now what I'm curious about, we talked about setting big goals. And you said you started with a small project. Did you already had a big goal for the beginning?
I yeah, like for me, it's like to have big goals is a must actually, because then you have like the energy to put in, because otherwise you can be like, let's say, feeling a bit lazy, or like everything like just keep waiting, but if you have a big goals from yourself in the beginning, and plus with the team as well, then we have like this vision to go through it together, and then like try to make it really happen. Otherwise, without the big goals, or just like small goals, like, okay, everything maybe it's done, because small goals like easier to reach, let's say, and then when it's done, and then okay, yeah, it's done, and then what, but if you have big goals, yeah, okay, then you do step by step, right? Yeah, from the smaller one, and okay, I reach the first step, the first level is done, and then okay, let's go to the second level until maybe the level 10, something like that. Yeah, so I do have big goals, yeah, and then I keep dreaming about my big goals until today. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you share them with a lot of people, or what do you do when you set them? Or is it more a personal thing for your
It's first
company?
personal, and then I always have like this what is vision board, in my phone, like, so easier, right, to really like the imagination, imagine it basically. And of course, always share with the team, especially with the team meeting, like, okay, weekly team meeting, I think is super important, because then you share like, okay, what we have done this week, what this person done, and then what another person have been done this week. Then we can also like collab with each other, and then like help each other, if it's one colleague like doesn't make it happen this week, okay, what's wrong, and then another colleague can help, so yeah, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And we had a brief call yesterday, and then you said that your mission really also changed. So you changed it along the way, and now sometimes it's a search for a new one, or a new direction. How does that work?
How it works, because let's say the first thing, like for my smart wearable company, like the vision and mission is just like to empower individual, right, to smarter innovation and then seamless wearable technology. That's our vision, and then mission is just like to create what is it, a stylish intuitive wearable for connect user to a smarter lifestyle. So basically only kind of short, right, like you use the smart wearable to you just slip on, and then like you can open the door, or like something do functional things like easier. But actually by the time after all the years, or not even a year, and then like we talk with people, right? We talk with clients, or potential clients, let's say. And then some clients have some ideas, or like we develop together, let's say, okay, it's not only like to sleep on the smart wearable, but also another function. So we have like this project. I cannot say what is it too much, but the function is like for the students, because I have NDA, so I cannot really like say it like too much. But the function is like not only slip onto your wearable, but also the wearable connect to your phone. So like for the kids with the parents, and then the parents like can check oh, where are the kids with a GPS, or like how much money does the kids spend already, and then example like monthly the kids that can spend 20 euros or 20 US dollar, but like okay, how much this second week does these kids like already spend the money, example. So it's like becomes like another function, which is like the vision is another next step, right? So not only wear it, but also like to protect, basically, because then where is your kids, and then okay, does this kid like spend so much money, and then for what, where do they spend it? Example, in the mall you spend it, or in the bookstore, or you spend like I don't know, in the to pay for toys, example, to buy toys. So it's a bit too much. So that's the goal, like a bit different right now. Then it's more advanced, and then like can help like bigger community, or like more people, basically in 2 generation rather than only like 1 generation, let's say. Yeah.
Yeah, so do I understand correctly that you're saying it's also a bit of a co-creation of indeed what customers are saying, what your partner is saying, what your colleagues are saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and I
it's
think
like the
that's a
learning
really,
experience, like from the community, basically. Yeah.
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 Okay, and then She Leads Plus, you also briefly introduced it. There, the goal is really to make impact. How do you start to plan for impact?
Start to plan for impact, yeah, because first of course we do the research, right there, like what are the community needs, basically. Research is important, and then we can think with the team, like okay, what kind of impact that we can give to this community, let's say. So yeah, I think the impact is quite diverse, yeah. Each community, each example, we're gonna have like I'm gonna start with Indonesia because I come from Indonesia. We're gonna launch pilot project next month, let's say, for because the new president of Indonesia right now, he has like this new program to help kids and pregnant mothers to get free food per day, so we I would like, me and the team like would like to give like impact as well, to help support the government, and then help these kids also like to get free food, but also the impact not only get free stuff, free food, but also like okay, help the mother, to give healthier lifestyle, because the food is like healthy food, and then teach them, or also like give training and for the development. How is it, like the impact for your family if you get this healthy food, and then what kind of healthy food is it? And so those kind of stuff they learn, how to cook the healthy food, so something like that. So
Yeah.
I think it's small stuff, but also can give impact for a whole family, and also like the population, let's say.
Yeah. So what you're saying is basically also the local impact, so the smaller scale one, and then your mission and your vision maybe can help with making the bigger impact, so the bigger picture. So though do the small
Exactly, like the
project indeed
pyramid stuff.
build
Yeah.
up to the
Yeah.
bigger one. Then
Exactly.
are there more questions? Are there people who have questions for Verlin of how she did it, or maybe some comments or some thoughts?
Mm.
If not,
Yeah,
then
can I
oh yeah,
ask a question?
yeah,
Thanks so much, Vern, for your time and sharing. Very inspiring, first of all.
Yeah.
Just curious about your journey. How did it evolve from, say, what was your first product? And maybe if you can share your first customer, and then all the way until now, like how did you decide to prioritize which product to to add to your portfolio and not, for example, can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, sure. So, do you want me to answer like a specific company, like let's say, or just like in general, like a whole my entrepreneurial journey, basically?
Yeah, actually, maybe the smart ring actually is very, very interesting as well because we work in the childcare industry, so maybe we can share about that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Basically, yeah, this is also like a bit like a personal experience, basically, right? Yeah. So, I think both of me and my business partner, basically. So maybe I started for myself. So I have this jewelry company, right? Uh, so I'm gonna actually answer you like a bit like more from entrepreneurial journey because it's connect to each other. So I started with my it's my own jewelry company. It's just like production for normal ring, normal bracelet, necklace, with diamond and gemstone. Yeah. And I like pretty stuff. I'm also a woman. And then at the office, let's say, I have my own office, like with the tech, right? Like with the card tech, and it is always hanging in my neck, let's say. And then it's really annoyed me because if I wear a necklace, then the tag like really bugging me, and then it's like covered my necklace rather than showing my own necklace product. And then it's every day hanging in my neck, the tag, the card tag. So because of that, okay, yeah, I need to make something, like which is smart and I can wear it and it still looks pretty, and yeah, and then easy to slip on, and then you just go. So that's how it started, the idea. And for my business partner, because he really started the company like from zero, the Singaporean person. So basically for him, started from a university project, and then did a lot of research as well, and then what is it the best. And then of course, as a student, we didn't have so much money, and then so we use the 3D printing from university, and stuff like that. So it's really like the first product, and combined with the IT team, and then and then with yeah, those kind of idea became one together with a whole team as well. Yeah, and first product finish, let's say, is kind of like from university or school project, and then have the chances to pitch for MBTA, like Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority in Boston. And yeah, got the project, basically got the project. So sometimes it's also like you need to be brave, right? Yeah. And then I think the lucky factor also is needed in entrepreneurial, right? But lucky is not only lucky because of the universe, but also like I think as entrepreneurial, you have the feeling as well, right? You have the feeling, and then like you have beside your own mind, like okay, how is it, before you set, you have the big goal, and then you have the feeling as well. I think that's important. And by the time we have another from this that smart ring, so we have the smartwatch, the second project, basically, and how it came because technology wise, if you want to connect a smart wearable to the phone, so we need to have Bluetooth and battery, right? Yeah, so watch is one of the best because it's still a bit bigger, and then like we can put the battery and then chip inside it as well, rather than ring. Then after that, smartwatch came up, and from there on, like okay, like more people wear it right now, or before as well. Yeah. And people came to us, hey, I want to make smart shoes. We also have like a shoes company client. to measure like not only how much walking distance that's like too normal, let's say, for that kind of function, but like, oh, there is like a slippery area, so you watch out, then it can tell in your phone, hey, watch out because you're gonna step on the slippery area, let's say, or watch out, don't go to the right too much because it's gonna you're gonna fall down, example like that. So that kind of function is also like a request from several clients, then we make we customate it, so that's how also it goes through the what is it, expanding like that, the experience. Yeah.
We, for the sake of time, maybe also briefly talk about the startup visa. I see a question in the chat, and maybe more people are interested in it. So when you want to bring your company to another country, of course, you did it through the startup visa, but do you have some comments on that you can share?
Sure. Yeah. A startup visa is quite interesting. What is it? Residence permit if you want to go abroad from a non-European country, let's say. So including if you're American as well, not only Asian. If you're American or African, then you want to go to Europe. Netherlands is one of the best country, I think I would say, for a startup visa, for a startup company, because they have a lot of the government really into it right now, right? Yeah, a startup visa in the Netherlands, they started 2016. So everyone that own innovative company between the 9 sectors of the Dutch government, you can Google it actually, what kind of sectors, like, but example like healthcare, water management, and then even what is it, technology, of course, right, and then what else, creative industry, and so on. So you can apply, and you don't need to invest so much money, because there in the Netherlands there are like two kind of visa: business visa, that you need to have 5 years company in your own country, and then you need to invest like 1.2 million euros, something like that. But startup visa, you only need to invest 15,000 euros approximately right now. But that 15,000 also is not like you give to the government, you just put in your bank account, and then you can use it for your own company running as well. And you need to collaborate with a company in the Netherlands that chosen by the Dutch government. So actually you can contact Loes about that, because Erasmus Center for Entrepreneurship is one of the mentor, the like kind of company mentor for the startup visa. And I think you need to pay some amount to because they gotta guide you in everything, right? Yeah, like from how is it to make a document for the government and stuff like that. So you and the mentor, the company mentor, make the document together, like example your company profile and stuff like that. So they will direct you like within the Dutch sectors, like the important sectors in the Netherlands, basically. Then you need to pay between, I think, I'm not sure like how much is it, like between 2,000 euros ish approximately, or there are like 10,000 as well, but don't choose the 10,000 euros one, choose one that around 2,000-3,000 are just like normal range of amount. So Erasmus Center for Entrepreneurship, I went through like CIC Rotterdam actually. I can, if you
can I break in? Because for the sake of time, but if you are interested in a startup visa, you can always reach out, and I can send you the sources where you can find more information. Maybe because time's almost up. Do you want to share something about She Leads or potential collaborations? Because in the slides, I will share them afterwards. You can always reach out to Verlin with specific questions, or maybe She Leads. Can you share something?
Yeah, sure. So again, you can reach me out on my LinkedIn as well, everyone, on my message if you want to ask other question like startup visa. I also want to address a bit, like, because the She Leads is a global foundation, basically. I would like to collaborate as well with everyone, like especially from Southeast Asia. to really collaborate with us, and then maybe like can be like pioneering partner in each country. We have like some cool projects also coming up in Southeast Asia. Yeah, one of them in Indonesia. Me myself, like after 12 years in the Netherlands, I'm gonna half move to Indonesia start July. So if you guys around, like let's meet as well in Indonesia or wherever I can come over, yeah, please reach me out, and then maybe Luz can share our website as well, both of my company and also like the global foundation of Shilits. Yeah, so we keep in touch with each other, and yeah, thank you so much. If you have
I
any
will share
question
it.
or inspiring me something, please reach me out on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Verlin, and I will share all your details, and I'm really thankful that you took the time. So thank you. Then for the group, I want to share two final comments before we switch off, because I also saw a comment that it's quite late. For me, it's actually 11 in the morning, but for you, it's already later. So what we discussed today was the mission, the vision, the goals, and the value. So think about it, and I will do a recap maybe next week. Then we have the next session. So I will share there are the key takeaways. You can read them, just like more examples that are in the slide that I didn't really read out loud during the session. So hopefully you know where to find those. Then Verlin Vermeer Joswara, thank you for being here. You can reach out to her and maybe also about potential collaborations. I will add your LinkedIn link here. And then the final thing it's gonna play the video again. The final thing I want to ask you is maybe to give some feedback, because it's actually the first session with a new group. So we're always curious, yeah, what you thought about it and what your experience was. So it's a very short summary survey with a few questions. So I would be really thankful if you can fill it out. And then the only thing that's left is to wish you a good evening. Do you have a final remark, Guillaume, or can we?
Yep, all good. Thank you so much, Luz, and thank you, Ferlin, as well, for joining for this first session. Next session, everyone, is next week, right? So we don't have anything else for the rest of the week. Have a fantastic day. The recording will be up later today. The slides will be shared also later today in your platform, as usual. Again, a big thank you to Luz and to Ferlin. See you next week, and have a great week ahead.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. See you next week.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you too. Thank you.